I've been reading the Full Metal Alchemist manga, and I think I actually might like it more than Attack on Titan. My name is Marco. I am a former professional opera singer, and I love talking about music from an emotional perspective after a decade on the stage. And I have to say, Full Metal Alchemist may be the best. Well, it's one of my favorite pieces of literature I've read. I was expecting like a sort of bright, peppy shonen. Ed is very, playful, and there is comedy in it, but actually their struggle and their desire to bring back their mother, and what led them to this journey, to becoming a state alchemist and to becoming the sort of deformed and bruised and damaged. And I'm starting to see a lot of vulnerability in Al and in Ed, and it's been really, really beautiful. So I'm really excited to listen to the Lullaby of Rosenbowl, which Rosenbowl is where they're from. So I have a feeling this is about their mother, how she got sick, and maybe their journey with her and trying to bring her back to life. I'm not positive. I have not watched the anime. I will be watching the anime on Patreon on a watch along format after I finish the manga and after I finish a little bit more of Attack on Titan on there as well. So here we go. What I love about this is, first of all, I love how classically based this is. I didn't know what to expect with Full Metal Alchemist's soundscape, but what I really appreciate about this is how classically coded this is. Something really, really amazing about this is how we're choosing, first of all, a bit of a waltz, a bit of a dance. There's a lot of plucked pizz movement here, pizzicato movement in the orchestra, while the cello is actually taking the lead. And there's something really rich and warm about this cello, especially in the lower register, where we feel this humanity. The cello and the trombone tend to be pieces of instruments that really replicate the voice if a voice is not available or a voice is not wanted. They really have a certain vibrato about them that really comes across in that humanity. And if you listen to the lower register here, whatever the notes are, there's an inherent feeling of a melancholy, but it's interesting because of the way that we have the orchestra pizzing or pizzicato here, especially boom boom boom. That gives way, I think, to Ed and Al's youthfulness, to their innocence almost, even though they're put in a really adult situation where they, the soul transferring over to Al and, being the youngest state alchemist and all this other stuff. So I think that there's still an innocence in there. And they talk about this in the manga, about the fact that he's a little bit scared of girls and he's a little awkward and whatever. But this really feels like it's their modus operandi, their purpose for doing what they do. That really comes across, I think. Oh, that's so gorgeous, isn't it? And then what's really interesting is that, I'm going to talk about this for 20 minutes because it's so beautiful, but we actually end up going back. And it's kind of they do go back to their hometown. They do go to find their master. They want to improve. They want to hone their skills because they know that they're up against something that's a lot more complicated. And they thought looking for this philosopher's stone and trying to get their bodies back. That's that key impetus. Obviously, they made a mistake trying to bring their mother back. So you also feel like, right? So even though we go on a journey and then we return back, it's very powerful. And then that viola or the violin is the one that takes over now. Actually, I just had a thought. What if the first one we hear is Al because he's bigger? The cello is a bigger instrument. And then this version, whether it's the viola or the violin, they're slightly different sizes, but they're essentially, they're obviously both smaller than the cello. That makes me think of maybe that's Al. And because the melody is the same, they're actually going through the same emotional arc. It's quite cool. And now they're together. Yeah, it's the brothers. Yeah, it's the brothers. You know, there's a little bit of hope in that sound, and I do think that could be the relationship between the Ehrlich brothers. There is a dynamic there of being united together, being focused together, being hopeful together about life, and leaning on each other. Because there's a little phrase here that is very, very, very almost bright. I mean, obviously it's a very melancholic piece. It's slow, so it's probably why they call it a lullaby. It's definitely not something you want to sing to your kids because, it's a little depressing. But there's a little corner here that I want you to pay attention to specifically in terms of our musical storytelling brain. Listen to this. Right here, upper. Listen to the upper register. Right there. You hear that? See, it dips into the sadness, but it's really here where we hear. That's where the playful and bright quality comes through, and maybe that's also Al's personality or Ed's personality. Listen. And then it goes back into that sadness, but that's a little corner of a brightness. And then a nice setting down into the tonal center and into that main dominant pitch of just where do we go from here? Really, really nice. I'm actually really excited to watch this anime as well. I've been into this idea of watching manga or reading manga first because it's just such a pleasure to read and quick to read too for me. And then going in and watching after having experienced the context going into watching that. I'm actually doing that on Patreon for quite a bit of things, including Full Metal Alchemist here soon. I'm also planning on reading Akira, reading Death Note, reading Vagabond, reading DB, then heading over to DBZ, and just really in Berserk as well. So really soaking in that experience of these, and it's always nice too to read that source material and then go in and watch how it's enhanced by music and enhanced by the acting of these fantastic actors, and really absorbing that. I'm really pleased with Full Metal Alchemist. I'm sad that it took me this long to get here, but I'm really excited to read through. I'm on book 6 by the time this video comes out. So I have another 20-ish books, and I'm really eager to just digest them. They're fantastic pieces of literature, and I just can't believe it's taken me this long to really expose myself to this stuff. So I have a lot of catching up to do, and that's really exciting. I really enjoy being one-track minded and exploring new things. So hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you later. Bye.